my love has flown away, and I'm without my love. Now, laughing friends dry, tears I cannot hide. So I smile and say, when a lovely flame dies, smoke gets in your eyes. Like a daisy on my way, with no bromo seltzer handy, I don't even shake. Men are not a new sensation. I've done pretty well, I think. But this half-pint imitation put me on the blink. I'm wild again, beguiled again, a simpering, whimpering child again. Bewitched, bothered, and bewildered am I.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's show. I am Sheldon. I am Hadar's husband, and I have the honor of introducing her tonight. I'm very excited to tell you a little bit about her, though many of you know everything about her. But before that, I just want to make mention of a few things so that you can enjoy tonight's concert as much as possible. So first of all, I want to encourage you, if you haven't yet, please watch tonight's show on a large screen and through nice speakers or a stereo. That will allow you to really enjoy the full fidelity of tonight's music and all of the video that you're going to see. Also, you're going to want to make sure that when you have gotten to this page, that you make sure that you are streaming in HD. You can just sort of mouse over the screen and you'll see something pop up in the lower corner. Make sure that that is selected in HD. And also you're going to be wanting to watch in full screen. So go ahead and do those things now. You'll have a little bit of time. I'm going to say a few other boring things. We noticed that a lot of you are using the chat already. We encourage you to use that throughout. We can see it. We will be able to also, all of us, see it on the screen a little bit later in this square that you see with my hand. So please use that. That's also what we're going to use for the Q&A, which will begin after the show. So make sure that you stick around for that. Okay, I think that's all of the boring stuff. Let me tell you a little bit about Hadar. If you're here, you probably know a lot of her accolades. You probably know what an incredible talent she is. So I want to tell you a little bit about sort of the origin of this project of Hadar doing jazz. boy, 18 years ago, Hadar and I met in Boston, and Hadar was studying at Berklee College of Music, and she emailed me two of the songs that she recorded for her application. One of them was the standard Cry Me a River, and I listened to that over and over and over again. Many years passed and did not hear a lot of jazz music out of Hadar until about 2017-18, when Hadar was invited to sing for some incredible luminaries from all over the world, and someone named Barack Obama requested that Hadar sing jazz standards, as that was one of his favorites, and Hadar dusted off her Berklee books and refound her love of the Great American Songbook and of the jazz standards. In the spring of 2019, as Hadar and I were preparing for our summer tour across America as We Are the Northern Lights, she told me, sort of casually, that she wanted to record a jazz album. And to put it mildly, I was not enthusiastic. We had a lot of other projects that we were just trying to get off the ground, and she was coming to introduce another one. But within a few weeks, with the help of Ronan Itzik, her drummer, and Yaniv Taubenhaus, her piano player, both of whom you'll hear tonight, Yaniv also arranged this music. She put together an album, recorded her debut, It Never Was You, in one day, I believe. The recording was in one day. The result, she made a fan out of me of jazz music. I didn't know that I enjoyed jazz music as much as I do now. And the result, so hopefully some of you have seen or heard, is just not only one of the best things that Hadar has ever done, but a truly beautiful, beautiful piece of art. And I definitely, you were hearing some of that just a moment ago. So I became such a fan that about a little over a year ago, I came to Hadar and I said, well, I think it's time for your follow-up. And so last March we went to the studio, and I got to sit and listen to 5 of the greatest musicians on the planet record 18 songs in 2.5 days, and 10 of those made this album, which is Witchcraft, the Jewish Women of the Great American Songbook. You're going to hear everything from that album tonight, and we're going to show you where you can download it. Some of you who are participating tonight as part of a community that purchased a download of the album will have access to that. Some of you who purchased an individual ticket with the album download will have access to that. And we're going to provide you with a link throughout tonight so that if you're interested, you can download that. It is not going to be officially released until March, but as a thank you for being with us tonight, Hadar wants you to be able to listen to this music just as soon as you possibly can. I know that's how I am. As soon as I go to a concert and I'm really moved, I want to go back and listen right away. So you'll be able to do that. Hadar is going to be joined tonight by some of New York's finest jazz musicians. That is Ronan Itzik, as I said, on drums, Yaniv Taubenhaus on piano, Danny Weller on bass, as well as Sam Sadigursky on clarinet and saxophone. I am done talking finally. It is now my pleasure to welcome to the stage Hadar Orshalimi.
Someday, when I'm awfully low, when the world is cold, I will feel a glow just thinking of you and the way you look tonight. Yes, you're lovely with your smile so warm and your cheeks so soft. There is nothing for me but to love you, and the way you look tonight. With each word your tenderness grows, tearing my fears apart. And that laugh that wrinkles your nose touches my foolish heart. Oh, love you, never change. Keep that breathless charm. Won't you rearrange it? 'Cause I love you just the way you look tonight. Just the way you look tonight. With each word your tenderness grows, tearing my fears apart. And that laugh that wrinkles your nose touches my foolish heart. Never change. Keep that breathless charm. Won't you please arrange it? 'Cause I love you just the way you look tonight. Just the way you look tonight. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. That was The Way You Look Tonight, written by Jerome Kern and the brilliant Dorothy Fields, and we'll talk about her in just a bit. I'm Hadar, and I speak for the entire band when I say we are absolutely delighted to be here with you tonight to share some of the most iconic songs in history and to celebrate the incredible and often underappreciated Jewish women behind them. Tonight is a very special performance for us because this is the very first live performance of the music from my upcoming album, Witchcraft, which we're not releasing until March for Women's History Month. But as a thank you for joining tonight, we're giving you early access to the album, and we'll talk about that later. Next, I would like to introduce another brilliant writer by the name of Betty Comden. Betty Comden, born Basia Cohen in Brooklyn, New York, was one of the most prominent female Jewish lyricists of the Great American Songbook. Her parents were middle-class Russian immigrants who kept a kosher home and practiced Shabbat rituals. Betty remained committed to Judaism throughout her life. She even mentioned in her autobiography once that she would always turn to Judaism anytime she would feel insecure. After graduating from New York University, Comden formed a nightclub act by the name of The Reviewers with her future collaborator Adolph Green, Judy Holliday, and others. Comden and Green worked together for almost 50 years, making them the longest running creative partnership in theater history. They even made an appearance together on the sitcom Frasier in 1944. But Comden and Green were strictly professional partners. They were never romantically involved, despite rumors. Comden's first Broadway show was On the Town, which she wrote with Green and Leonard Bernstein in 1944, and we'll talk about their collaboration in a bit. But it really wasn't until the early 50s that Comden's career seemed to take off, beginning with a Writers Guild Award for the screenplay to Singing in the Rain. She would go on to write lyrics and librettos for some of the most enduring and beloved musicals of the stage and the screen, winning some of the industry's highest honors. She was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1980 and the American Theater Hall of Fame in 1981. But let's travel back in time to 1956. Comden and Green partnered with composer Jules Stein for Bells Are Ringin', a show that would produce 3 standards, including this next one. This is Just in Time. Just in time, I found you just in time. Before you came, my time was running low. I was lost, the losing dice were tossed, my bridges all were crossed, no place to go. And now you're here, and now I know just where I'm going. No more doubt or fear, I found my way. Your love came just in time, I found you just in time. You changed my lonely nights that lovely day. Just in time, I found you just in time. Before you came, my time was running low. I was lost, the losing dice were tossed, my bridges all were crossed, no place to go. And now you're here, and now I know where I'm going. No more doubt or fear, I found my way. Your love came just in time, I found you just in time. You changed my lonely nights that lovely day. Come on, just in time. I found you just in time. Before you came, my time was running low. I was lost, the losing dice were tossed. My bridges all were crossed, no place to go. And now you're here, and now I know where I'm going. No more doubt or fear, I found my way. Your love came just in time. I found you just in time. You changed my lonely nights and lovely day. Your love came just in time. I found you just in time. You changed my lonely nights and lovely day. Yanniv Taubenhaus on keys, Rona Nitzik on drums, Danny Weller on bass, and Sam Sedegurski on clarinet and sax. Thank you. Let's play a round of Guess That Composer. Here are your hints. The next songwriter was born in the Bronx just 3 years before the Great Depression. She grew up in a poor Jewish family and cemented her toughness from an early age. Apparently, she had a reputation as a street fighter. As a young woman, she made her way by working secretarial jobs that she hated and writing stories and poems on the side while trying to learn how to write songs. But some things are just meant to be. So one day at work, she accidentally dialed a wrong number. On the other end, a music publisher at Sunbeam Music. Before she hangs up, she secures herself a contract as a lyricist. Just 2 years later, in 1953, she had her first mega hit, Young at Heart, which would go on to be recorded most famously by Frank Sinatra. This writer's career continued to blossom with hit songs on Broadway, in film, and in pop music. Some of her most notable accomplishments include writing lyrics for Broadway hits like Peter Pan, Wildcat, and Little Me, a show that earned her a Tony nomination for both Best Musical and Best Score. In 1983, her life was cut short by a sudden heart attack at the age of 57 in Manhattan. Her last Broadway show, How Now, Dow Jones, was nominated for 6 Tonys and contributed to her induction into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1985. What? Okay. I should say hello to some people. Hold on, but can I do the guesses? Okay. Does anybody know who I'm talking about? If you know who I'm talking about, what writer I'm talking about, put it in the chat. So while I'm waiting, I have more hints for you, but while I'm waiting, let me see. My eyesight is not so good anymore. Hi, Uncle Steve. Steve Fishman, Hadar's uncle. Hi, Mario from the 4th floor. Please read or put in chat how to get best quality sound. Good speakers. Hi, Mallory. Hi, Auntie Jerry. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Rabbi Bigman. So many friends. Bethany and Rockville. Guys, I need glasses. It's gotten to that point. I need glasses. Maybe we should make the comments bigger. Yeah, I see a lot of family. Oh, there we go. Hi, Eli. Hi, everyone. Okay, any guesses? Hi, Mindy. Any guesses? Go down. Let's see if we have any guesses. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple more clues. Okay. You know what? If you haven't guessed her yet, I'm going to give you 2 last clues. Here we go. One of her biggest hits was the last song Sinatra ever performed. That was one hit. That was one hint. Anyone know? Okay, here's the second hint. The lyrics of that song were inscribed on his tombstone. Hi, Robert. Okay, if you haven't guessed yet, I'm going to tell you. This writer is Caroline Lee, or her given name, Caroline Rosenthal. But I want to go back in time to when we talk about Lee's toughness for a moment. So songwriting is hard enough on its own. It's even harder to be successful at it, and I would know, and repeat that success decade after decade. Now, go back in your mind to a time when women's right to vote was only a few decades old, and you are one of a small handful of women trying to be a professional songwriter. As Stephen Sondheim once said about Caroline Lee and Dorothy Fields, they were virtually the only 2 prominent female practitioners in what was a man's profession. In other words, these women were absolute bosses. Oh, and that song of hers that was inscribed on Sinatra's tombstone, written in 1959, originally recorded by Tony Bennett, made famous in 1964 by Sinatra. This is The Best Is Yet to Come. Out of the tree of life, I just picked me a plum. You came along and everything started to hum. Still, it's a real good bet. The best is yet to come. The best is yet to come, and babe, won't it be fun? You think you've seen the sun, but you ain't seen it shine. Wait till the warm-up's underway. Wait till I dry you. Wait till you see that sun climb. Ain't nothing like it here. The best is yet to come, and babe, won't it be fun? The best is yet to come. Come the day you're mine. Come the day you're mine. I'm gonna teach you to fly. We've only tasted the wine. We're gonna drink the cup dry. Wait till your charms are right for these arms to surround. You think you've flown before, but you ain't left the ground. Wait till you're locked in my embrace. Wait till I draw you near. Wait till you see that sunshine place. Ain't nothing like it here. The best is yet to come, and babe, won't it be fun? The best is yet to come. Come the day you're mine. Come on, guys. Day you're mine. I'm gonna teach you to fly. We've only tasted the wine. We're gonna drink a cup dry. Wait till your charms are right for these arms to surround. You think you've flown before, but you ain't left the ground. Wait till you're locked in my embrace. Wait till I draw you near. Wait till you see that sunshine place. Ain't nothing like it here. The best is yet to come, and babe, won't it be fun? The best is yet to come. Come the day you're mine. Come the day you're mine. You will be mine. The best is yet to come. Thank you. So before I introduce this next writer, who, by the way, was a trailblazer, I'll tell you about her in a minute. I want to take a moment and say happy holidays, Chag Sameach, everyone. You can go ahead and use the chat to wish each other a happy holiday. And hi, Em. And just say hi. Just say hi. And if you have any questions throughout, put them into the chat. And we're just going to keep going. Okay, so I said this next songwriter was a trailblazer. on many levels. She was born in Omaha, Nebraska in 1905. Her name was Anne Rosenblatt, and she would go on to enroll in Wheaton College and Radcliffe College in Massachusetts to study music. During her time there, she wrote music for college plays and contributed to the school's musical publication through reviews and interviews. You're laughing at my pronunciation?
I'm not. I'm laughing at M's.
Okay. One such interview with George Gershwin led to a friendship with the composer and a job. He hired her as a rehearsal pianist for his show Rosalie, and he would become her mentor. Of course, in addition to the challenges I mentioned of being a woman in a field of songwriting, all of tonight's songwriters had another hurdle to overcome. They were Jewish. So at the recommendation of her mentor, George Gershwin, originally Jacob Gershowitz, Anne Rosenblatt became Anne Ronald. Now, I mentioned Ronald was a trailblazer a couple of times. Here are a few reasons why. In 1933, Ronald moved to Hollywood, where she co-wrote Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf, which would become the very first Disney hit song. At a time when almost all songwriters were either lyricists or composers, Ronald was both. She became one of the first successful female composers and librettists of both Hollywood and Tin Pan Alley. Her 1942 show, Count on Me, made her the first woman to write both lyrics and music for a Broadway show. And at the 1945 Oscars, she received nomination for both Best Film and Best Score for the movie The Song of G.I. Joe, which became the first drama to feature a theme song behind the credits. She was also the first to produce a record from a film score, which she did with the 1941 film Ladies in Retirement. But one of my favorite triumphs of Anne Ronald's career concerns a song she wrote all the way back in 1932. Though it was recorded that same year by two different artists, and both recordings charted, it had initially been rejected by several publishers. They disapproved of the fact that it was dedicated to another songwriter, George Gershwin. They also told her it was too complex of a song for a commercial release. But Anne Ronald would get the last laugh. The song would go on to be recorded more than 800 times and become her most famous hit. Then in 1965, more than 30 years after its release, it charted again at number 15 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 2 on the Adult Contemporary chart. If you know what song I'm talking about, say it with me. Willow Weep for Me, music and lyrics by Anne Ronald. Willow, weep for me. Willow, weep for me. Stretch your branches deep along the sea that covers me. Listen to my plea. Listen, willow, and weep for me. Gone, my lover's dream, lovely summer dream. Gone and left me here to weep my tears into the stream. Sad as I can be, hear me, willow, and weep for me. Whisper to the wind and say that love's a sin, to leave my heart a breaking and making a home. Murmur to the night to hide her starry light, so none will find me sighing and crying all alone. Oh, weeping willow tree, weep and sympathy. Spread your branches down along the ground that covers me. When the shadow falls willow and weep for me. Come on, Sam. Whisper to the wind and say that love's a sin. Leave my heart a breaking and make it up home. Murder to the night to hide a story love, so none will find sight and crying alone. Weeping willow tree, weeping sympathy, and bend your branches down along the ground and cover me when the shadows fall. Bend, oh willow, and weep for me. Thank you. So I see in the comments that Sherry says we know the Rosenblatt from Omaha. Is it the same Rosenblatt? Because that would be kind of amazing. Okay, if so, let us know in the chat. I'm really curious. Thank you, Stephen. Yes, Sam is amazing. Okay. Yeah, I said hi to Robert. Oh, Shirley and Robert. Robert. Hi, nice to see you guys. Okay. I'd like to switch gears for just a moment and tell you about another inspiration of mine that's much closer to home, my sister Sharon. Today, she's one of the leaders of the women's rights movement in Israel, and I can trace my feminism directly to her. At the time, she was an undergrad at Ben Gurion University in Beersheba, and she would talk to me about the things she would learn in her gender study classes. If it wasn't for my sister and seeing how hard she works to serve all the communities in Israel, Orthodox, secular, Arab, Jewish, men and women, I don't know that I would have fully appreciated the groundbreaking, ceiling-smashing women of the Great American Songbook. If it wasn't for them, I know I wouldn't be the songwriter or musician that I am today. And especially now, as a mother to a young daughter who's, knock on wood, sleeping quietly. And with the rising of anti-Semitism and the war on women's rights, I just wanted to use my talents and skills to do something meaningful. And so the idea for this album was born, to breathe new life into some of the greatest songs ever written, to shine a light on the talented and courageous women who wrote them, and to fight hatred and bigotry with celebration and empowerment of women, especially tonight during the darkest time of the year as we celebrate the lights of Hanukkah. So I hope these women remind you of your own light and that you share it and the songs and stories you've heard tonight with all the people in your life. Before I share this next song, I can't talk about the women who inspired me without talking about my mom, who I get my musical ability from. She is an incredible musician in her own right and a walking encyclopedia. I have some family members watching, and I know that they're nodding their heads right about now. So when I decided I wanted to record my jazz album, It Never Was You, my debut one, so she was the first person I called. And then when I decided I wanted to do a follow-up, I called her again and I said, Mom, I'm going to record another jazz album. This time I want to honor the Jewish women of the Great American Songbook. And the next thing I know, she sends me a list of all of her favorite songs written by Jewish women, including this stunning 1956 classic by Adolph Green, Betty Comden. This is The Party's Over. He's in love with Millicent Scott, a girl who doesn't exist. He's in love with someone you're not. And so remember, it was never you he kissed. The party's over. It's time to call it a day. No matter how you pretend, you knew it would end this way. It's time to wind up the masquerade. Just make your mind up. The piper must be paid. The party's over. The candles flicker and dim. You've danced and dreamed through the night that seemed to be right. Just being with him. Now you must wake up. All dreams must end. Take off your makeup. The party's over. It's all over, my friend. Party's over. The candles flicker and dim. You've danced and dreamed through the night. It seemed to be right. Just being with him. Now you must wake up. All dreams must end. Take off your makeup. The party's over. It's all over, my friend. Thank you. So I'm just seeing Sherry's comment, only one Rosenblatt family. That's amazing. This woman was just so badass. Sorry, amazing. Hi to all my family. Thank you, Emily, for the nice things you said about my sister. She really is. She really is something. On to our next writer. Ruth Lowe was a Toronto born pianist and songwriter. In 1936, at the age of 22, Lowe was working as a song plugger in the song shop in Toronto. Now, in those days, there was no quality commercial recording available, certainly no Spotify or YouTube. So, department stores and music publishers would hire song pluggers to perform the music in the hopes of selling the sheet music to a customer or to get it recorded by an artist. And in fact, many of the top songwriters of that time started as song pluggers, including George Gershwin, Irving Berlin, and Jerome Kern, to name a few. But the band leaders in Toronto knew Ruth Lowe was exceptional, and so they used to go to her to see if their song was a hit. Back to 1936. Ina Ray Hutton is in town with her all-female band, the Melodiers, and she is desperate to find an attractive blonde woman to replace her piano player who had fallen ill. Incidentally, the Melodiers were the first all-female band to get a record deal. Now, I told you Ruth was good. Not only did she get the gig, she became the Melodiers' regular pianist, touring all across North America. Quite a big deal for a poor, nice Jewish girl. Lowe toured with the Melodiers for a few years, and then in 1938, at the age of 23, she married Harold Cohen, a music publicist from Chicago. It seemed like life was really shaping up for her. But tragedy soon struck. Lowe's father would soon pass away, and then in 1939, just a year into their marriage, while still mourning her father, her husband Harold passed away during surgery. Lowe was crushed and moved back to her native Toronto, where she often worried to her sister that she would, quote, never smile again. But perhaps someone was smiling down on Ruth. She took that line and put it into a song. Bandleader Percy Faith heard her playing it at work and asked to perform it at his radio show. Lowe took that recording and passed it on to her friend who played at Tommy Dorsey's orchestra. Now, maybe it was because it was written by a woman, which was not very common at the time, that Dorsey passed on the song at first. Whatever the case, Dorsey had a sudden change of heart after hearing a new arrangement of the tune, and he decided to give it to his young new singer, Frank Sinatra. The song was an instant million-selling single, giving Sinatra his first #1 hit when topping the Billboard's first ever national list of best-selling retail records, as in the first official national music chart ever. And it stayed at the top of that chart for 12 weeks. The success was so enormous and people were so amazed that a woman had written this song that Ruth became a touring superstar herself. 2 years later, Frankie, as she called him, called Ruthie as he called her, needing another tune by the next day. The result would be another Sinatra hit, Put Your Dreams Away for Another Day, which Sinatra used as the closing theme song for his radio series and which was the last song played at his funeral. In 1981, at the age of 67, Lowe passed away from cancer, and a year later, in 1982, I'll Never Smile Again was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. Her success has also been credited for the creation of the Canadian Songwriter Hall of Fame. And although my mom told me she didn't like this song when I shared it with her, to me, it sounded like it was written about her and my dad after my dad passed away. This is I'll Never Smile Again. Words and music by Ruth Lowe. I'll never smile again until I smile at you. I'll never laugh again. What good would it do? For tears would fill my eyes, my heart would realize that our romance is through. I'll never love again. I'm so in love with you. I'll never thrill again for somebody new. Within my heart, I know I will never stop to smile again until I smile at you. I'll never smile again. I'm so in love with you. I'll never thrill again to somebody new. Within my heart, I know I will never stop to smile again until I smile at you. I'll never smile again until I smile at you. First of all, thank you, Art, for saying the creative videography. That is all guru producer Sheldon Lowe. And Sue, which one was the old favorite that's lovely to listen to? I'm just curious which one you were specifically. I thought. To old favorites. Oh, you're right. Old favorites. Sorry. I told you I need glasses. I didn't see the S. And before we go on with our show, I'll just give a little shout out. One of my best friends, Emily Shackleton, is watching the show. And speaking of just incredible charting songwriters, she is one of them. So round of applause for you, Em. So look her up. Moxie, chutzpah, all these women had it. But Dorothy Fields had to contend not only with being Jewish and a woman, but her father, Lou Fields, was one of the most influential performers and theater producers of his time. And he was doing everything he could to prevent her from pursuing the arts. Born in Allenhurst, New Jersey, to Polish immigrant parents, Fields began pursuing her career in secrecy, tirelessly perfecting her craft over the years and building her network of co-writers. And as you can imagine, she would eventually become one of the first hugely successful female songwriters in Hollywood and on Tin Pan Alley. Throughout her 48-year career, Fields co-wrote more than 400 songs, worked on 15 stage musicals and 26 videos. She is often quoted by leaders and dignitaries, such as Barack Obama, who used her lyrics in his inauguration speech, saying, "Starting today, we must pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and begin again the work of remaking America." But one of my favorite stories from Fields' career comes from her monster hit, Annie, Get Your Gun. The year is 1943. Rodgers and Hammerstein are basking in the success of their first musical together, Oklahoma. Fields approaches them with an idea for a musical based on Annie Oakley. Rodgers and Hammerstein love the idea and ask Jerome Kern, who was a friend and major collaborator of both Hammerstein and Field, to return from Hollywood to write the score. But 3 days after returning to New York, Kern collapses from a brain hemorrhage and soon passes away. And maybe some of you remember this story about Hammerstein singing by Kern's deathbed from my last show. And needing a composer, Rodgers and Hammerstein then asked Irving Berlin to write the score. Now, Irving Berlin always preferred to write his own lyrics, and so Fields and her brother Herbert partnered to write the script. The show would, of course, go on to be an enormous hit, with long runs in New York and in London. That Rodgers and Hammerstein would jump on this idea says so much about Fields' reputation and talent. That she would agree to step down as the lyricist says so much about her character. And that her name sits beside all these other great male writers of the time, in spite of her father's misguided wishes and social norms. Remarkable. About a decade later, 3 unused Jerome Kern melodies were discovered by singer George Byron, who was recording an album of neglected Kern songs. Byron sent them to Fields, who was on vacation with her family. So Fields secluded herself in a barn, and sitting on a wagon, she wrote lyrics to all 3 melodies, including this gorgeous classic from 1959. This is April Fooled Me, lyrics by Dorothy Fields. I can remember so well once April fooled me with an afternoon so gold, so warm, so beguiling, that I thought the drowsy earth would wake up smiling. But April fooled me then. The night was cold. Once someone fooled me with a kiss that touched my heart beyond all believing. But like April, that sweet moment was deceiving. It was not really spring or really love. You were like you too. Restless April fooled me, darling, so did you. Someone fooled me with a kiss that touched my heart beyond all believing. But like April, that sweet moment was deceiving. It was not really spring or really love. You were like you too. Restless April fooled me, darling, so did you. Thank you. Thanks, Mallory. I'm glad you love the stories. I'm obsessed with these stories because these women were just amazing. I just can't even believe they did all of this. Wait, I can't see Love the Song. But why does the April calendar have 31 days? Well, ask my videographer. I'm just the artist, Felicia. Going back to Caroline Lee. This 1953 song, recorded by Frank Sinatra, became a million-selling hit and reached number 2 on the Billboard chart. In fact, the song was so popular that it became the name of the untitled film that Sinatra and Doris Day were filming at the time. And the song was included in both the opening and closing credits of the movie. Do you know which song or film I'm hinting at? I'm not going to tell you it. I want to know if anybody knows. Come on, guys. Does anybody know? No, Caroline Lee, she was such a badass. Okay. I will tell you. This next song is called Young at Heart. Now, I'm about to share this tune with, just kidding. Young at Heart, that's it. Fairy tales can come true. It can happen to you if you're young at heart. For it's hard, you will find, to be narrow of mind if you're young at heart. You can go to extremes with impossible schemes. You can laugh when your dreams fall apart at the seams, and life gets more exciting with each passing day, and love is either in your heart or far away. Don't you know that it's worth every treasure on earth if you're young at heart? For as rich as you are, it's much better by far to be young at heart. And if you should survive to 105, look at all you'll derive out of being alive. And here is the best part: you have a head start if you are among the very young at heart. Come on. open to you. If you're young at heart, sing with us. For it's hard, you will find, to be narrow of mind. If you're young at heart, you can go to extremes with impossible schemes. You can laugh when your dreams fall apart at the seams, and life gets more exciting with each passing day. And love is either in your heart or far away. Don't you know that it's worth every treasure on earth to be young at heart? For as rich as you are, it's much better by far to be young at heart. And if you should survive to 105, look at all you'll derive out of being alive. That here is the best part, you haven't started. If you are among the very young at heart, you sing it. If you are among the very young at heart, let's do it. If you are among the very young at heart. Thank you. Okay, first of all, I'm sorry, Robert Davidson. We have a delay here. You guessed it. Yay! Young at heart. Awesome. Thank you, Annie, for the sweet words, and the other Annie for the sweet words. Thank you guys. It's been so fun being here. We're not done yet, but I'm just saying it's been really, really fun. This next tune I'm about to share with you is another Betty Comden from the musical On the Town, which I had mentioned earlier as Comden's first Broadway show, and in which I mentioned that she wrote with her long-term collaborator Adolph Green and a new friend collaborator Leonard Bernstein in 1944. And while tonight's show is all about the amazing Jewish women of the Great American Songbook, I do want to take a moment and share a little bit about Bernstein, or as his friends called him, Lenny, as his success and Comden's success with their first Broadway show were connected. So before we talk about him, I want to give you an opportunity to share your favorite Bernstein songs in the chat. So we do have a delay, so I'll wait for like 10 seconds. Oh, yes, someone. Oh, so beautiful to listen. Thank you, Alexandra. Bernstein favorites, are you going to share any of them with us? Oh, Sheldon said it's a 30-second delay. Okay, well. Okay, I'll talk a little bit about Bernstein and then I'll look. Okay, all right. In 1918, Louis Bernstein was born to Ukrainian Jewish immigrants in Lawrence, Massachusetts. His parents called him Leonard, but he only legally changed his name after his grandmother's passing. Bernstein was a gay man and, like Dorothy Fields, had a father who discouraged his interest in music. And so Bernstein went against his father's wishes, also like Dorothy Fields, and became one of the greatest American composers, conductors, and pianists of all time, with 16 Grammys, 7 Emmys, 2 Tonys, and a Kennedy Center honor to his name. As a composer, Bernstein is known for using dissonance, most notably in his use of the tritone or the devil's interval throughout his biggest hit, West Side Story, which debuted in 1957. But to introduce this next tune, let's go back in time to Bernstein's early years when he was a student at Harvard's music school. Over the summers, Bernstein worked as the music counselor at a Jewish summer camp in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, where he became friends with his future roommate and collaborator, Adolph Green, who then connected him with Betty Comden. When Bernstein moved to New York in the early 40s, he would often sit with his friends Adolph Green, Betty Comden, and Judy Holliday for their performances at the Village Vanguard. It was during this time, almost 15 years before West Side Story, that Bernstein began his first collaboration with Jerome Kern on their show, The Ballet Fancy Free. When the duo decided to turn the ballet into a musical, they invited Comden and Green to write the book for what would become On the Town. In the midst of World War II, It was a groundbreaking show featuring a Japanese American lead dancer, a multiracial cast with mixed race couples, and a black concertmaster, Everett Lee. And I would like to believe that it was the Jewish chutzpah of going against social norms and doing whatever it takes that gave them the courage to create such a revolutionary show with one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard. I'm going to share it in just a moment. Let me see favorite songs. Okay, hold on. Glitter and Be Gay. Amazing. Bernstein's, what? Divertimento. Wow, I don't know what that is. Okay, you wrote a song called Sanctus that I sang in college. Amazing. It's a mix of Latin, Hebrew, and English verses. He was very much into his Judaism. He went to Israel. He did like a bunch of amazing stuff. Read more about him. Okay, Uncle Steve. One Hand, One Heart from West Side Story. Aw. Stephen Candide. I can't. What? Chickster? Chichester Psalms. Okay. Oh, Tonight from West Side Story. Yes. Amazing. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing all your favorites. A lot of these I know and were also some of my favorites. This is my favorite. Please enjoy this achingly gorgeous goodbye tune, prominently featuring Bernstein's signature dissonance from the 1944 Bernstein Green and Comden musical On the Town. This is Some Other Time. Where has the time all gone to? Haven't I had the things we want to? Oh, we'll catch up some other time. This day was just a token. Too many words are still unspoken. Oh, we'll catch up some other time. Just when the fun is starting, comes a time for parting. But let's be glad for what we had and what's to come. There's so much more embracing still to be done, but time is racing. Oh, we'll catch up some other time. Just when the fun is starting, comes a time for parting. Now let's be glad for what we had and what's to come. There's so much more embracing still to be done, but time is racing. Oh, well, we'll catch up some other time. Thank you. I'm just curious. I know we have a delay in the chat, but I'm just curious. How many of you have heard that song before? And if it's the first time you've heard it, how many of you now have this song as your favorite Bernstein song? Because when I heard this song for the first time, I literally started bawling because it was just touched my heart so, so much. And I think Sheldon was on the verge of crying too the first time he heard it in the studio. I want to give a quick little shout out. I know a lot of people, or I know some people are watching at home because of the weather and the storm. And I will let you know my hands are very cold in here because we have our heater off because it makes a lot of sound, so a lot of noise. So I'm excited to soon turn the heat on. But I do want to send a shout out to one community that I know that is watching together, to Temple B'nai Torah out in Bellevue, Washington. Thanks you guys for being here. To Josh Niehaus, to Rabbi Dazinger, and to Robin Negrin for making tonight happen for you guys. Thanks so much for being here with us. Good? Okay. Did I miss anything else? Okay. We have heard it plenty before. Well, of course you have, Lori Corson, who's also a musical genius. I want to take a moment and thank all of the people who made this evening possible. My producer, graphic designer, sound and lights engineer, overall guru, and mastermind of tonight's show, my husband, Sheldon Lowe. I'm going to look at you for a sec. I literally couldn't have done this without him. I am very good at singing, not so good at technology. And if it wasn't for him, I would probably be just up here with the guitar singing a cappella. So thank you, thank you, thank you. To my amazing mixing engineer, Robert L. Smith, was also watching here. Thank you so much for just making everything sound so, so incredible. And to my amazing band, Yaniv Taubenhaus on keys, who also arranged all the music. To Ronen Itzik on drums, Danny Weller on upright bass, and Sam Sedergursky on clarinet and saxophone. You can give them a round of applause right now. To your amazing communities who are featuring this show tonight. To my home communities here in New York City, Temple Israel of the City of New York, and Congregation Emmanuel of New York City, thank you for always, always supporting us. To the incredible 92nd Street Y, what an honor to be included on your roster. To my Michigan communities, the Flint Jewish Federation and Congregation Shalei Tzedek in Southfield for coming time and time again. To Temple Mount Sinai in El Paso, Texas. To Temple Beth Ami of Rockland, Maryland, and to Beth El Temple Center of Massachusetts. Thanks for always saying yes to all of our endeavors. To Temple Beth David of Cheshire, Connecticut, and United Hebrew Congregation in St. Louis for joining us for the first time. We are so grateful you chose to spend your evening with us. To Temple Emmanuel of Greensboro, North Carolina, Temple Shalom of Naples in Florida, and to Temple B'nai Torah of Bellevue, Washington, thank you for coming back again and again. We cannot thank you enough. To the residents of Seacrest Village, we know you're only going to watch it on the 28th, and we hope you are enjoying it while you watch it. Thank you for being here. And lastly, to all of the individuals who purchased their tickets and who helped spread the word, thank you so, so, so much. We know there's a million other things you could have done tonight in the midst of what seems like a winter vortex, but you chose to spend your evening with us, and we want to thank you for that. A couple of final announcements before we do our closing song. Please make sure you stay for the Q&A after the show. We're just going to take a couple seconds. I'll turn the heat up and I'll get myself a little bit of water. But other than that, we're going to start pretty quickly. If you look on the screen right now, you should see a link, there it is, and a QR code. They're both going to take you to our site where you can sign up for our mailing list. Please do that. If you sign up, we're just going to let you know about exciting news. Maybe we're touring on your area or we have new music. Not more than that. No junk mail. I barely have time to send that. So I promise I'm not going to send a million emails to you. Also, if you go on that link, and you will see that you have the option to purchase our albums. If you purchase 2 albums tonight, I will send you a download of a brand new song that is yet to be released, and believe me, it is worth it. Please keep in mind that some of your communities may have already purchased a download of the album as a part of your ticket, so please just check with them. We will finish the performance tonight with another Caroline Lee song and the title track of my album. Let me look at the chat real quick before we do our last song. Thank you, El Paso, woohoo! Rabbi Ben Zeidman, I believe, is in Israel, but still opened this to his community. So thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thank you for being here. Please stay for the Q&A. I will be here to hang for as long as you want. Thank you again one last time for being here. I'm Hadar, and this is Witchcraft. Fingers in my hair, that's like a hither stare, that strips my conscience bare, it's witchcraft. And I've got no defense for it, the heat is too intense for it, what good would common sense for it do? 'Cause it's witchcraft. Wicked, wicked witchcraft. And although I know it's strictly taboo, when you arouse the need in me, my heart says yes indeed in me. Proceed with what you're leading me to. It's such an ancient picture, but one I wouldn't switch, 'cause there's no nicer witch than you. Take it away, guys, come on. 'cause it's witchcraft, witchcraft. And although I know it's strictly taboo, when you arouse the need in me, my heart says yes indeed in me. Proceed with what you're leading me to. It's such an ancient picture, but one I wouldn't switch, 'cause there's no nicer witch than you. Witchcraft, wicked, wicked, wicked witchcraft, wicked. Thank you. But it's a long, long while from May to December, and the days grow short when you reach September. The autumn weather turns the leaves to flame, and I haven't got time for the waiting game. Oh, the days dwindle down to a precious few. September, November, and these few precious days I'll spend with you. These precious days I'll spend with you. Hi everyone, welcome to the Q&A. Maybe Shell, can you enlarge the comments so I can actually see them? Thank you everyone. No, I definitely can't see that. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Thanks, Em. So friends, do you have any questions? You're welcome, everyone. Thank you for the very, very sweet words. Oh, thank you, Jana. Favorite Bernstein song. Yeah, man, that song is so pretty, isn't it? I heard it. I could only really find a Tony Bennett version of it. And I was like, I feel like it needs to be taken a little bit quieter, and I was trying to find different versions of it. I couldn't find it. I found like maybe 2 or 3 versions of it. I was like, I gotta record this one. It is my favorite song from the album for sure. Thank you, everyone. Anybody have any questions? Anything? What? Oh, that there's a third album? Yeah, I do have a third album that will come out eventually. But we have to release this one in March 1st, which officially is going to be released March 8th for International Women's Day. But hopefully we'll get to tour with it. I mean, we will get to tour with it a little bit leading up to that. Anyone have more questions about the writers, about this project? I'm curious, and I know we have a delay here, so maybe you are answering that, but I can't see it yet. I'm curious to know, okay, which of the songs you didn't put on the album? Can you make it loud? I just can't see. Well, Felicia asked, which one of the songs you didn't put on the album were you most saddened not to use? So, um, I actually recorded a Billie Holiday song. She wrote it. Who did she write it with? She wrote it with a Jewish writer. I just can't remember who it is off the top of my head. I do have it written. She wrote the lyrics to God Bless the Child. And I was debating, can I put it on the album or not? It's one of my favorite songs. And I was like, it's there's a Jewish male writer on the song, and she's a female not Jewish writer on the song, and I decided it's going to go on the next album. So while I was sad that I couldn't honor her under this umbrella of just like amazing female writers that just had to work like 100 times harder than their male counterparts, I'm still excited that I'll get to feature her in the third album. Okay, where will you be touring? Thank you, Em. So I have a show coming up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I'll be there in like 2 weeks. And then hopefully a couple of shows here in town, and still working on the tour. We have potential Connecticut one, potential New Jersey one, all sort of in the making. But if you do belong to a community that you think might want to bring myself and the band out, please make sure to pass that information along to me, and please connect me with them on my website, hadarmusic.com, contact, and you can let me know there. Okay, hold on. Any tour dates coming up? Yes. Me and Sheldon, yeah, we have a bunch of different stuff coming up. We're doing a lot of stuff in town. We're going to be in Florida in March because it's going to be warm there. We have a couple of gigs out there in March, but go on our website to see where we're going to be. Is there going to be a physical album or just a download? There's only a physical album of It Never Was You, the first album. I'm not going to print CDs for Witchcraft. It's just, those days are over, at least for now, unfortunately. Maybe it'll come back, yeah. How did I find and assemble my band? So one of the greatest things about living in New York City is that you can just kind of, ask a friend, ask another friend, and you can get really the greatest jazz musicians in the world pretty quickly. But what was more important to me about this band, because they're obviously like world-class musicians, was that I loved them and got along with them, and that they were good people, and every single one of them is, and we still play together, and we will continue to play together, and yeah, and everybody in this band is Jewish. That was just coincidental. I didn't actually intend for that. It just happened to be that way. But I reached out to Ronen, who's my drummer and a good friend of mine, and he sort of started connecting me, and one by one, they all fell in place. And then my mixing engineer, Robert, who's amazing, sort of was the last keystone. Yeah, I was going to say the last piece in the puzzle that really just kind of took everything we did. I mean, Yaniv did the arrangements, and then Robert just polished it so beautifully and made us sound so good. When does your tour start, and where are you playing, and when are you playing in Madison Square Garden? Yeah, I don't know how many jazz fans there are that are going to fill Madison Square Garden, but if you do have any thoughts on that, please let us know. My idea for this project, it's, thank you, Sheldon brought me some tea, so you can hear, battling a bit of a cold here. Thank you. One of the things that I learned through my own experience and also through just being married to Sheldon is that projects that fill your heart are the ones that do best. And both this album and the second album, I really fell in love with the music. And then when I learned about these writers, and I was like just so impressed with them, I thought about all the complaints I have about, oh, like, this song isn't working, or I'm not getting the gig that I want, or whatnot. Like, these people, both the men and the women. I mean, the women really had to probably work at least double as hard, but they just went for it. Like, they disobeyed their parents. Like, they just kept going, and I am just very, very, very inspired by that. So I believe in my heart that there will be more touring and more opportunities for both of these projects, and that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going next. Oh, thank you. Bob and Lisa in Seattle said they loved learning the history and the music. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming. Any other questions? Anything you want to know? I'll just tell you that my daughter, who's an amazing saint, has been sleeping silently this entire time. That's it. How many more people do we still have on the watching? 77. 77 devices. You just want to hang out? Do you have any other questions for me? What was your favorite song from the show? It's hard to probably remember. M. You can tell we're best friends, right? Your passion is contagious. Have you thought about bringing this to temples or schools? The amount of history and information you share is wonderful, and so many could benefit from it. Thank you for the question. I certainly am bringing it to temples. We just had a show in Massachusetts last month where we shared the first project, Jazz by Jewish Writers. We did the same in Youngstown, Ohio, the month before. And we are definitely trying to think of more angles for it. And again, if you belong to a congregation or a federation that you think would enjoy this, please connect us with them. Oh, awesome. You liked singing along. Thanks, Mallory. And I see Linda loves the project. Thank you. Sheldon wants to know who would have liked to have more lyrics to sing along. I I thought one song was enough. Sheldon thought more than one was better. Anyone except for Mallory and Sheldon? Thank you, Rabbi Bigman. Anything else you might want to know? Anything else I could tell you? I'll say this. You know, the I think a lot of these songs, Willow Weep for me was my fave. Yeah, I love that song. She wrote the lyrics and melody for it. It's just such a good song. I think a lot of these songs, while they were huge hits at at those times, and while jazz lovers probably know them, they might be a little less of the mainstream, like I Got Rhythm by the Gershwin Brothers or Someone to Watch Over Me, or something like that. But thanks, Dan. But the how amazing and beautiful they are, and the fact that they were just so, like, people always ask me, oh, why do you think Jews got into the Tin Pan Alley and the Great American Songbook? And I looked it up, actually, because I was curious about that. And while I couldn't find a definitive answer, send a selfie on your Facebook page. That's amazing. While I can't find a definitive answer, some speculations or some theories are that this industry was just, well, first of all, just the arts and music, they're just a more forgiving industry. Like, Jews really accepting industry. They couldn't get jobs. They were denied from so many jobs back in the 20s and 30s. My grandmother, she lived in Detroit. She couldn't get a job at Ford. So I think that was one reason. And really, not only did they sort of enter into this industry, they then created it, because songwriting didn't exist in the same way that it did once the jazz standards came into place. Even the format of it, the AABA, they created it. So not only did they get into this industry, and they then dominated it. And music that we listen to today is still based on that. So it's really like an enormous contribution. And then when I think about the women at the time that, probably didn't get paid as much, probably were, everybody was kind of rooting against them. And they somehow managed to write these incredible songs and just not be defeated. And so while maybe some of them are not as hugely well known as the Gershwins and the Hammersteins, they, as you heard from the stories, did pretty well, and just remarkable music. Brucey said more words. Okay. Yeah, Sheldon says this show is focusing on the women, yeah. But in the previous show. Right, I was talking about the contribution. Yeah, and the last show I was talking about the contribution that Jews made to the distinctly American art form. Yeah. And that can almost be pinpointed to Jerome Kern, because Jerome Kern, when he came to America, really transformed the way music was written. He introduced new rhythms and new styles of music, and even the way music was performed. It used to be in these big theaters, and he created these tiny little theaters. And again, today, when we think of a jazz club, you don't think of an arena. You think of these tiny, small theaters. That was probably him. It was vaudeville, and then he came along and created jazz standards, and it flipped. Yeah. Felicia, are the songs of that era considered public domain at this point, or do you have to pay for the rights of the royalties? You're trying to get me into trouble. Or since it is an updated arrangement, isn't? No. So it depends on the song. It depends on the year. Some are, some aren't. For the release of the album, most of them I'm probably going to have to get a license for the actual release. Which I did with the first one, yeah. But I have to look. It's like song by song. And actually, when you look it up, each song it has like a different fee. It has to do with how long the song is, maybe it has to do with how famous it was, and how you're distributing it. Yeah, it's like a whole thing. Yeah. Any more questions? Anything you want to know? How are we doing, love? Okay. It is 9:47. I just want to ask you, how's your Chinese food? Is it really good? Oh, yeah, I asked that before. I'm just curious, what was your favorite part of the show? You can say a specific song, but if it was a specific story, a specific writer, that will be the last question. And then I won't bug you anymore. I'm just curious. Like I already told you, my favorite song is Some Other Time. Both lyrics and music. Amazing. My second favorite song is The Party's Over. But it's actually hard to say. No, I don't know. I don't know what my favorite song is. Oh, you're playing me? Okay. Okay, friends. We'll put some music on. You can keep hanging and eating your Chinese food and drinking your wine. Thank you for being here with us tonight. Please make sure you go on the website and grab those albums, and I will see you all very soon. Chag Sameach.
Like a daisy on my way, with no bromo seltzer handy, I don't even shake. Men are not a new sensation. I've done pretty well, I think, but this half-pint imitation put me on the blame. I'm wild again, beguiled again, a simper cling to him and long for the day when I cling to him. Bewitched, bothered, and bewildered am I've sinned a lot. I'm mean a lot. I'm like sweet 17. A lot. Bewitched, bothered, and bewildered am I. I'll sing to him each spring to him and worship the trousers that cling to him. Bewitched, bothered, and bewildered am I. Couldn't eat, was dyspeptic. Life was so hard to bear. Now my heart's antiseptic. Since you moved out there, I'm wise at last, merciless, cutting you down to your size less. Bewitched, bothered, and bewildered. No more. Love burns a lot, but I've had a lot. And now you are broke, so you learn out. Bewitched, bothered, and bewildered. No. But it's a long, long while from May to December, and the days grow short when you reach September. The autumn weather turns the leaves to flame, and I haven't got time for the waiting game. Oh, the days dwindle down to a precious few. September, November, and these few precious days I'll spend with you. These precious days I'll spend with you. It's a long, long while from May to December, and the days grow short when you reach September. The autumn weather turns the leaves to flame, and I haven't got time for the waiting game. Oh, the days dwindle down to a precious few. September, November, and these few precious days I'll spend with you. These precious days I'll spend with you. I'm gonna love you like nobody's loved you, come rain or come shine. High as a mountain and deep as a river, come rain or come shine. Well, I guess when you met me, it was just one of those things. But don't ever bet me, 'cause I'm gonna be true. If you let me, you're gonna love me like nobody's loved me, come rain or come shine. Happy together, unhappy together, won't it be fun? Days may be cloudy or sunny, we're in or we're out of the money. I'm with you always, I'm with you rain or shine. come shine. Well, I guess when you met me, it was just one of those things. But don't ever bet me, 'cause I'm gonna be true. If you let me, you're gonna love me like nobody's loved me. Come rain or come shine. Happy together, unhappy together, and wanna be fine. Days may be cloudy or sunny, in or way out of the money. I'm with you always, I'm with you rain. I'm with you always, I'm with you rain. I'm with you always, I'm with you rain or shine. Fish gotta swim, birds gotta fly. I gotta love one man till I die. Can't help loving that man of mine. someone happy. Make just one someone happy.